going to show you how to use this demo, in particular setting up your accounts for the first time. So the idea is that anywhere that you have wealth is basically an account. So let's say you've got, or this persona that I'm creating has a Barclays account, has an ISA. Let's imagine that they've bought a home and they also have some shares in something, and maybe they even have um, like a flight points dollars thing. Now, because this person travels around the world a lot, they can change or like acknowledge that these have different currencies. So let's just add a vault. You can add more currencies over here. So if I was to add the euro, it pulls in what the current euro rate is going to be. Oh, I forgot to rename that. So currently I've got the rate that everything is based against is the pound, and if you wanted to change that, you just change that to the 3 letters that you want it to be for the currency that you wanted to turn it into. And yeah, it pulls in the rate, so you get an accurate base balance of how much you've got in there, but I'm also showing the local amount. So when you check that account manually, these numbers should line up and you don't have to do like a currency conversion thing. But like, let's change this to the euro, and let's say that their shares are in Australia. And yeah, they bought the house, and I said, yeah, that's all good. Right. So the next thing you want to change, so don't worry about your local amount or your base balance. Don't input anything in there because this is going to come from your master ledger tab. But you need to look at them and be like, all right, well, is this cash that I have on hand? So I could spend it immediately. And the reason that this is important to use is because we're actually going to show you and calculate for you how much time you still have before you run out of money, assuming you get no more money into any of these accounts. So Barclays is probably going to be cash. ISA is not readily accessible unless you've got ISA cash, but let's assume it's like maybe ISA pensions. Your home, you have to sell your home, so it's definitely not going to be cash. Shares, you have to sell your shares, not going to be cash. Flight points though, yeah, sure, that could be cash. Vault, let's just say that in this example, it is, I don't know, jewelry, paintings, blah, blah, blah. So it would not be cash. So now that you have set up or like named where all of these pockets are that you have money, you need to go into this tab called the master ledger, and we're actually gonna set it up. So your starting balance, pick your account. So share, slide point, the vault. I'm going to make starting balance for all of these. And this is where I say how much is in that account locally. So let's say it's 3,000. Let's say maybe I've saved a bit more, so 8,000. So my house is worth 250,000, which seems really, really cheap this day and age. Shares, I've been very diligent. So let's go 12. Flight points, I haven't done that much traveling, so it's only 55. And the vault, let's go 250,000. All right. So currency is not pulled in automatically, although I could change that right now. But assuming you remembered, I'm going to try remember Great British Pound. Shares were AU. Let's not remember. Great British Pound and euros. You will also have to pull in what the current FX rate is going to be. So because I know that it is Great British Pounds. Actually, I might change this so when you get a new one, this will automatically populate the starting balance. But it doesn't matter after the first one because you will automatically be pulling in information. So what is Australia? Australia and here is cool. So you can see now how the base value amount is changing, and hopefully, category by the way is I think cash will be ready to assign. Let's say value, 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 ready to assign. Value. So to talk about these categories, review you shouldn't need to worry about. It's when you're importing them. And I'll show you this in a different video. Ready to assign means like I have this money to assign to my budget. Valuation adjustment is used for when, say, your shares or your property changes in value. You can create that adjustment value and it'll change the calculations for your net wealth, but it won't affect like your income and your expenses. And then account transfer is for when you're moving money from one account to the other. All right, so now that I've set up what my accounts are, and I need to add the date, so let's just make it today's. Silly thing. Best if you start with today and then instead of trying to go back to the earliest date, mainly because of the currency exchange rate. But it also makes it a lot easier to get your head around what's happening. But yeah, you'll see that the numbers are populated. And so here, just to remind you again, this is where I was saying, you know, you can check what your, or like they call it reconcile, but you can basically check what your local amount is and then like what are you actually worth. And what's kind of cool is that it should be starting to generate some reports for you to look at. So you can see currently your net worth is 485. Actually, that might be a good point. When you add something like your home, I'm saying in this example, like I own $250,000 worth of that home, like that money is mine. So I'm ignoring the rest of the mortgage and I'm only looking at like what of the home do I own? Yeah, cool. I'm gonna end this video here. So you should have learned how to add where all of your wealth is coming from, and you also should have been able to set up how much money is in each of them. And then the next step, I will start to show you how to use the budget.